Noah's Ark 2x2 formation. Road change, now we go racing for the first time this season. 3 hours of GT action is go.
It's very tight as they come down. Group of cars coming in. This has all got trouble written all over it. This is G3 cars.
Drop downhill, they head towards the Aqua Minerale. Imola, of course. There's another one off through the gravel. As wide as possible as they drop downhill, putting that truck inside line. Yes, he did. Through he goes.
Good evening and welcome to race 5 of this season's GT3 Tier 1 Season 14. We're at Zolder this afternoon. I am, as always, Mr. RageF1 and I'm joined by Tim in the comms box for this round of exciting racing. How you doing, buddy? He is here, I promise. We'll find him in a second if he can hear us. Tim, are you there? Are you with us? Are you live?
I can just about hear you, but Discord is throwing a wobbly, so I might be quiet for a little moment or two. I do apologise.
Don't you worry.
For some reason, it's all coming out of my TV rather than my headphones.
Okay, don't you worry. It's fine. I've had quite a few problems this afternoon trying to get everything ready for us. I've upgraded the stream slightly. We've got some good stuff coming for you guys. Hopefully, we'll have a little bit more of a better stream overall quality-wise. So let's see how it goes for everyone. Give us a shout if there's any updates that you need to let us know about, imperative issues or anything like that. We're trying to stream in a little bit of a higher bit rate, a little bit of a higher quality for everyone. We're taking on the criticism and we're trying to make it all a little better for everyone involved.
Happy days, happy days. Well, I apologise for bringing the tone down immediately with my with my immediate wobble that I had. So apologies about that to everyone at home. Yeah, for some reason, my whenever I unplug my headset, even if I then plug it back in and change everything, it just resets itself as soon as someone connects. So that's always fun.
That sounds like useful technology doing useful technology things.
Yeah, it's always absolutely fantastic.
We're
at Zolder. Absolutely fantastic to be here this evening. Already been having a bit of a spy on the free practice session. Lots of curb strikes going on. Amazingly, haven't seen anyone actually crash at the chicane yet. But lots and lots of curb usage. I'd be amazed if anyone managed to survive the entire race abusing the chicane in that way, or even if the tyres managed to survive.
Well, we'll have to see. I have to see how they fare. I remember the Bentley being ridiculous around here at one point.
I've even seen the Porsche going through the curbs with no issues, which I'm quite surprised. I imagine everyone's probably running quite a soft setup to try and battle with the curbs. But I think free practice is just coming to an end and qualifying is going to begin. But there's obviously some big names at the top of the leaderboard at the moment in free practice. But there are some really big names that, as far as I'm aware, won't be taking part in qualification. There are some big old license points out there at the moment. So Toro Grosso is currently running 5 license points. Duacorp, 5 license points. Lovering with 5 license points. Warner with 6. Podens and Van Thielen with 8. But with the absolute cherry on top, Gutmann with 8 license points. Now, I'm not sure if all of them are even in the race this evening. I think most of them are. I haven't checked to see if Gutman is here this evening, but that's a lot of license points built up, isn't it? I know we had an hour and a half of racing last time, so an extra 30 minutes of license points accumulation, but goodness gracious me, quite a lot of drivers might not be taking part in qualifying. And if you're looking at the practice server, you know, you've got Warner up in the top 5 and you've got Torregrossa up in the top 5, and both of them, as far as I'm aware, can't take part in quali.
Well, they've got to learn from their mistakes, I would say. His harsh mistress is the old stewarding this season, as we've discussed live on stream quite a few times. I must admit that it is tough, I think, for everyone involved this season. So, yeah, I'm not surprised we've got a few people not taking part for this final round. We have ticked on over to the next session. But let's see if we can jump straight into that. And yeah, I mean, guys, look, first of all, I'm sorry we probably we reset this stream at the beginning of things about 5 times to get it going correct. So if you haven't quite found your way back here, you know, you can do. And I apologies if you got to see us in the final, you know, the VOD afterwards. It's released to everybody. I'm going to put the AOR pit wall live timing in the details for everyone to see as well. So if you fancy jumping on there, then you can do. I shall pin it to the side so everyone knows exactly where that is. That's pit wall. That's a live timing screen AOR pay for, so everyone's in the loop of what's going on live on track. Well, Tim, before we get into the qualifying, which is literally starting in front of us, I thought we'd just go down through the results of what we had last time out. So obviously Silverstone, Luke Whitehead ran away with the win, Conrad Siata in 2nd place, Aidan Walsingham in 3rd, Jardier in 4th, Nicodem 5th place. Standings wise then, Luke is currently widening his gap and his domination on this pack. Jardier in 2nd place. Luke's got 379 points. Jardier's got 296 points. There's almost a win in it. In the bag for Luke Whitehead. So you can almost have an absolute nightmare and still be in the lead. Conrad Siata 3rd place, Aidan Walsingham 4th place, and Nicodem is in 5th, Mattia De Campo 6th, Remy Papp in 7th, Valentin Barrier having a nightmare of a season, he's in 8th place, and Luciano in 9th with Alejandro Alves in 10th place in the championship. So there's all the statistics done for now. Let's see if we can jump on board with someone we can all relate to. Here we go. We're on board with Jardier, currently going through turn 2. It's the Sterrenwolkenbocht. This is quite good. And the next one is the Kinnerlichbocht. Can you tell I practice these, Tim?
I can. They're all just numbers to me. I'm not even going to begin to try and pronounce them all. I've got them here, and I don't really know why I've got them here, because I know that I will be fumbling over those all night long and all of tomorrow as well for tier 2. So I'm probably just going to go with, you know, turns 1, 2.
Oh no, we went to Narnia and then came back. Are you with us, Tim?
Oh, I am indeed. Can you hear me still?
Loud and proud, my brother. Loud and proud. We disappeared for a second, but I think everyone's back.
Okie dokie. Don't know if that was my end or your end.
No, that was everyone, I think. Well, definitely me, because we went to Narnia, we went under the track, and you stopped mid-sentence. But it looks like everything's back and normal, so yeah, not too sure. But we're here. All's good.
Happy days.
Yes, so interesting updates. I got myself some 2K screens. Managed to wangle myself a 4070. And we are streaming in 1080 at 60, so we're doing well at the moment. Internet seems to be holding out, and nice. I'm watching in 2K. It's very nice at 120 frames. Very good. Everyone should be enjoying the new resolution and not moaning at me mainly. On board with Jardier then. He's currently... Has he put a time in? Have you got the times up? I've got the times up. What are the times?
The times. Jardier has put in a 127.745. What we had here?
The little timing screen didn't come up properly. It does now. I've managed to click it open. Yeah, Jardier, 6th place, 127.7. Luke Whitehead opened up his tab, 5th place with a 127.7 as well. Chris Warner, though, currently in the lead with the 127.4. So Luke Whitehead taking a lap or two, as he normally does, to warm up slightly. Jardier Gets it all kind of wrong into turn 7. But yes, he's okay. Didn't spin the car. Almost did, though. Let's go on board with Luke. See what the Ripper's getting up to. Coming down towards Jackie X. No, he's not. The Klein chicane. Hops clean over the Klein chicane today, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, it's just being a case of absolutely jumping their way through at the moment, isn't it? It's not something I can do. Here we go. Look, here come in some of the disqualifications I was saying about earlier on. Because obviously I went through that list, and then I did realise that a few of them were out on track, including Warner, who is currently in 2nd place. But obviously he shouldn't be out there. So Toro Grosso shouldn't be out there. Duracorp shouldn't be out there. Warner, Podens, Van Thielen, Gutman, and Loverink. All of those drivers should not be taking part in qualification.
Unfortunately.
Yes. Yep. So I mean, they were warned. It is down to the driver to make sure you do not take part in qualifying if you have got 5 or more license points. But there appears to be multiple drivers out there. I was always under the impression it was 5 was the cut-off. I'm going to double check it just to make sure. But I always thought 5 meant a quali ban and anything above it. So unless it's above 5, because there's a couple of them that are still out there. So at the moment, Warner is still lapping. I'm trying to talk behind the scenes to the race control and see what's going on there. See if we can't get a little bit of info on it. So apologies if I'm a little bit quieter at the beginning. I'm just doing some behind the scenes snooping, as it were. I've seen a couple of disqualifications come through. I didn't see who they were, but I say, as far as I'm aware, Warner's on 6, so he definitely shouldn't be out there. So he will be receiving, I imagine, a disqualification or a severe slap on the wrist, as we saw earlier in this season at Misano. If you take part in quali, well, actually, they were disqualified for the race themselves, weren't they? So if they take part in qualification, doesn't matter. At this point, I think he's going to lose. He's probably disqualified for the entire race. So there's no point being out there now. All he had to do was sit in the pits, or all these people had to do was sit in the pits, and they've gone out. So Toro Grosso out there as well. He's in 7th place in the championship. Loverink, I'm sorry, on the grid. Sorry, Loverink is in 8th place on the grid. Yeah, and they've set fast times, so they can't even say they're just out there practicing going slow and at the back of the grid, because that's not going to work.
Talking of fast times, Tim, Luke Whitehead just took pole away from Alejandro. Yeah, I don't get it. Why would you go out? They must not know, eh? So, I mean, I'm sure the didn't Warner serve his last time. Is it a culmination we're looking at here? Are you looking at the older penalties, the points?
Unless maybe
served it already.
I may have. I looked at it. I was just going for the option of I was just going on the driver, going into their name, and it was coming up with, in red, those numbers. So I will look again.
Yes. Normally it says on the front page on the dashboard who's got to serve and who hasn't. Have you served? Yes, I have. Duracorp, Podens, Van Thielen, we have Frank Briattle and Gutman all to serve. Federico Varagalo, I think he's tier 2, he is, yeah. So tier 1, we have Duracorp, Podens, Van Thielen, Frank Briattle and Frederick Gutman, who will be serving race ban for Frederick, but quali bans for the other 4.
Yeah, so that's obviously been served. They just haven't disappeared off of there yet. So that's fine. That is my bad.
Yeah. Settle down, Tim. We're all fine.
I know. I got all excited.
So they will be back. So that's the 63 car of Duracorp, the BMW that everyone knows and loves. He will be back for the race. Podens also in the he's the Celtic Bromance team. 69, obviously. Course the memes. He will be back for the race. Jenel Van Thielen, fan favourite, the 214, he should be back. Frank Briattle, the 86, he has also got a quali ban, should be back for the race. But Frederick Gutman with 8, I repeat, 8 licence points. That's 8, Tim, if you didn't hear. He will be back next week, unfortunately, because he has 8 licence points. That's 8. 1 more than 7 and 1 less than 9 equals 8.
There we go. So I'm just getting a bit of coming through from some of the from the team behind the scenes, as it were. So out of the 4 people in Tier 1 that have qualifying bans, 2 of them have been disqualified, as obviously they were out and about, and then 2 of them are not in the server whatsoever. Okay. So obviously not serving it this time round. So there we go.
If they don't turn part in the race, it's served, isn't it? That's got to how it's going to be. If they don't turn up, if it's a do not start, they've served their quali ban as well, right? They wouldn't then move it on to the next one.
I'm not sure, because it's the same as when if people decide they're just going to completely quit out of the series. If let's say they do 2 races and then they manage to acquire an absolutely metric ton of license points and such, I think if they then stay away for a season or 2 and then come back, I'm pretty sure you still carry the license points. So I don't know whether it's a case of you need to actually show up or not. That might be one for behind the scenes.
Not too sure about that. That seems silly to me, but anyway, I mean, it could be correct. I don't mean what you're saying is silly. It seems crazy.
I remember seeing it a while ago. This was a couple of seasons back, so things may have changed since then. But there was definitely an issue where someone complained that obviously they were coming into the season carrying license points, and they were obviously annoyed about that. But I think it was along the lines of it's to stop people just showing up for a couple of races at the beginning of the season, driving like an absolute nutter, causing loads of problems, and then just reappearing next season and being able to do it over and over again. I think the idea is to try and stop people from doing the whole, arrive, smash into everyone like you're go-karting, and then, off you go again sort of thing, and then come back next year when everyone's forgotten. Or at least that's what I think is the case. I might be wrong, and feel free to let me know at home if I am wrong, because I'm sure some of you are far more deeply engrossed into the data than I am. It's all become a blur over the years at this point.
Well, Torregrossa is in second place. He displaced Alejandro with a fantastic 1:27, almost dead. 0.85 was the actual figure. He is up on his time by a 10th, so he might actually snatch away the provisional pole of Luke Whitehead. So Alex Torregrossa looking to do the business. Coming across the line then. He does displace the Ripper, and he will go down to P2 for now. Still on the front row of the grid. One of those who's looking to improve is Nicodem. He is coming through the final sector now. He's gone through turn 8 there. He's going down towards turn 9. There we go. And he's just about to go through turns 10, and he is up at the moment. He should improve. I think he's lost a bit of time actually. Never mind. Has he got an improvement? Yes, he does. Displaces Jardier. He has gone down to 7th place. Nicodem then up into 6th. More to come from him, I feel. Conrad Ciata. He is the epitome of more to come, because he has been nipping at the heels of the top boys this season so far. He is 1/10 up, and he looks to get inside the top 5 if we can see some improvements from Conrad Ciata. Down the gears then into the Jackie X turn 10 chicane sequence thing. Still got time under his belt. It's a 2nd and some change. Sorry, a 10th and it's some change. And he doesn't get into the top 5, but it will be 3rd row of the grid as it stands for Conrad Ciata. Good improvement. He is on another fast one. It doesn't look like he's giving up, so another lap for him coming, I'm sure. Chris Warner then, Apex 1. Where's he? He's going through the turn 7 area. The I'm not gonna butcher these much more, but for your enjoyment, Tim, I will do.
Well, big improvement from Aidan Walshingham. It was actually, I think, 0.3 improvement, but got himself inside the top 5. He's now running in 4th position. And apart from that front-engine BMW, it is looking like a mid-engine lockout at the front of the grid, isn't it? Yeah, I'm not even going to begin to humour the idea of trying to do the names at all. It's just everyone at home will just be offended by my inability to speak even basic English if I then try and pronounce, some foreign name. There's just too many letters there, isn't it? Can you even shorten them? You can't really, can you? There's no way of even shortening them down.
No, not really. You try and say turn 8. It's the Boulderberg Hassel Spellbocht. So there you go.
That's just Boulder. That's just going to be Boulder. We'll just call it Boulder.
I think that is actually shortened to Boulder. I've got a funny feeling that's what people call it.
Otherwise, that is a lot to try and say in the middle of a race. Calling out people's names and at the same time trying to pronounce that one. It's all a lot, isn't it?
I'm at the Boulderberg Haspeltbocht. I mean, turn 8, Jeff. Turn 8. God. Flipping names.
You now see why drivers have the image of the track in the car, don't you? You now
Makes
see
sense.
it why, because if you're trying to sort of say, where on the track am I? You can be like, I'm sort of at the end, the pointy bit, down there at the bottom, after the hump. There we go. See? The hump's not even on here. That's between between Tulum and Boulder, isn't it? There's that the almighty hump as you go over it, and I imagine we're probably going to see a couple of incidents there. The rear and front tyres go very light as you go over there, so if you're right next to someone and there's a little bit of net code possibly, that could put in some interesting things. Pretty much coming to the end of the qualifying now. Toro Grosso into the pits, so obviously decided he's not going to improve on that, but he is a whole 0.1 of a second in front of Whitehead, so that's a decent... Whitehead's having none of it, and he is determined to get himself on pole position. I'm trying to think, that's going to put him at the outs... Oh, he's 0.3 up on his lap. What on earth? Where did that come from? And Walshingham as well is 0.3 up on his lap. What have these two... A nitrous button, they kept it hidden. 0.4 he clipped into then. So Whitehead coming across the line does take pole position by a whopping 0.02 of a second. Walshingham not far behind.
Well, there you go.
Oh, goodness gracious, look at that. It's another Lamborghini front row lockout.
That'd be very interesting to see why that happened. I think we were on board, Tim, when they were going through that chicane. The chicane that shall not be named. What actually is that chicane called? It's the Klein chicane.
Klein?
Yes.
We'll just call it Klein.
Turn 5.
He's a nice guy.
So they proper rocketed over. I reckon they held that back so people weren't watching what was going on, so they could run away with it. They found 3 tenths, didn't they? Both of them, the exact same amount. So yes, I think maybe they held back until that final run. Just surmising on that. We also went to Narnia one more time as you were talking. I think I might lower the bitrate before we go into the race, just in case we do any Narniaing during the actual race. So I might just quickly do that now before we get too deep. So bear with. There we go. Right, we're back. I'm not too sure why it keeps doing that. I want to try and get the stream as good as possible, but it's obviously not stable. Right, we are back. Sorry about that, Tim.
So, that's all right. No worries at all. I just kept my thoughts to myself for a brief moment. Just before you run through the list,
yes,
you were saying about holding back in qualifying. I also think that is sort of one of those one-time lap of the gods. You can't consistently hit the curbs like that without either A, risking a rotation upon landing, or risking a slow puncher. It is possible. Big old curb strike can give you a slow puncher in this game. I think it's a case of they waited to the very end of qualifying to just throw everything at the wall and go, right, we know this could damage the car, but they've only got half a lap to go with a slow puncher. So realistically, you're not going to lose enough pressure to affect the rest of that lap if the gain is 0.3 of a second. So I think that was kind of a case of, right, this is our last lap anyway. We're already in good positions on the grid. Let's just, absolutely go for it, full guns blazing. And it seemed to work out for the pair of them, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
That was definite team orders, I reckon. It was a case of, wait till the end of it, and then you two absolutely fly. So,
and they did just that. They flew straight over. I don't know. Maybe that was it. Maybe they didn't want people to see how they were finding their advantage. Who knows? We noticed it because it flashed up before us. 3 tenths found. But it was just funny how they both found it at the same time. Well, conspiracies aside, let's go through the keyhole as that Lloyd Grossman man says. Luke Whitehead currently on pole then, with Aidan Walsingham joining him on the in second place on the front row of the grid. Second row, though, is Alex Torregrossa. Well, there you go. That's a name that we haven't said on the second row of the grid for a little while. He'll be joined by Conrad Ciata in fourth. Alejandro Alves and Abe Sentema will be in fifth and sixth. 7th and 8th, fourth row of the grid will be Nicodem and Luca Vidalik. Well done, Luca. He's in fourth row of the grid for them. 5th row, Chris Warner and Jardier in 9th and 10th. Fallen down a little drop in form there for Jardier. Maybe that car not doing very well around here, but Nicodem seemed to get some pace out of it. 6th row, Junco and Jose Jimenez. They will be in 11th and 12th. We have Lois, Regina and Luciano in 7th row of the grid, 13th and 14th for them. Skylar Loverink and Mattia De Campo, 15th and 16th of the grid, and there will be an 8th row. Kieran Prendergast, there's a name we haven't seen all season. Welcome back, Kieran. He is on 17th, P17, with Joshua Allen joining him on the 9th row of the grid. 10th row is Valentine Barrier and Josh Waring in 19th and 20th each. Noel Hatche and... we haven't seen this one. Milan Di Klippel, I think. I'm going to guess he's Dutch. 23rd and 22nd for him. Arthur Patat will be 23rd. 24th for Marco Badowski. Jakub Tarasuk will be in 25th. 26th was Vinci Rachov. And then we have Nowicki in P27. Alejandro Perez in P28. But he's showing pit, so not too sure Alejandro is with us. Kevin Lejekas in P28. Walter Billen in P29. Amat Seda Kargulu is back with us, guys. Hold the phone. Kargulu has returned. Arnold Hours in 31st. Wojtek Dovrak in 32nd. Kevin Niles in 33rd. Jenel Van Thalen and Christas Poden, the two non-qualifiers, in 34th and 35th place. And to the second, we got through that without too many incidents. So, Tim, are you with us still?
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
I did try and message. Had to quickly run off my... the joys of not being in an actual real commentary booth. My child was crying, so I had to run away for that for 2 minutes.
It's okay. If your child cries again, you just run away, mate. Don't you worry. It's absolutely fine. Right, so Luke Whitehead is on the front row with Aidan Walsingham, and I'm sure we'll be able to talk to him about that slightly cheeky qualifying session. We'll see if that was planned. I think it was. Aidan Walsingham will be joining him neck and neck. Alex Torregrossa and Conrad Ciata just behind. Look at them, looming large. Do you think there will be an incident again like we saw in Misano ever come up between the Veloce boys, or do you think it's plain sailing now, Tim?
I would really love to say no, it won't happen again, and I imagine that Walsingham would completely throw away his entire race to make sure he did not cause an incident like that. But he is going to have inside into turn 1, so who knows? Who knows? And it's always a bit messy at Zolder, turn 1 and turn 2. It always gets a little bit tight. So, yes.
Well,
Bit of an unknown, really, isn't it? I think the big surprise, I think, is going to be Torregrossa tonight. I think out of the cars that are in this top of the field, that BMW, I feel like, is going to be the sort of more stable, safe bet here at Zolder.
Okay. All right. I like it.
It just did seem, you know, especially because we know that Whitehead and Walsingham, they run absolutely no traction control whatsoever. That's going to make landing after the chicane, even if they are only doing sort of normal curb strikes, that is going to make it slightly harder as well, coming over this section of the track as well. Here you've got this rise that we spoke about earlier on. Doesn't look like much when they're going slow, but when you're going fast, it really does make the car go quite light on its tyres. Again, if you're battling for position, which, you know, hopefully these two are going to sort of keep themselves ahead, and it won't be a problem. They won't be battling too much. But lots of places here where you can lose traction. No traction control for these guys is going to be possibly a little bit hard. Lots of low speed corners. Again, that's where the Porsche might come into handy, to be fair. The rear engine as well, going to be a really good shout for getting themselves out of these chicanes and flying along. So yeah, I think Torregrossa is my sort of, you know, my little sort of tap on the nose to say one to keep an eye on. So car number 217, I think we could see at least staying on the podium.
I think so too. Well, I think for once, let's start on board with Conrad Ciata. We get to see exactly what happens between the two teammates ahead. It's like the Silver Arrows at Bahrain of 20 whenever. It's like Spain where they span off into the grass. Will we have any incidents going down into turn 1 for the Veloce boys? It's green, green, green then, with an hour of racing in Zolder. Round 5 we are, into turn 1. Aidan Walsingham giving him a benefit of the doubt, but getting a good run. Luke Whitehead on the dirt then, trying to defend. And he's definitely lost some time into turn 2. Aidan Walsingham looking menacing then, trying to get a move past into the slipstream. Any news a little bit further back, Tim?
A little bit of argy-bargy, but no one sort of causing any major incidents. They're still getting together a little bit, but everyone being very respectful.
argy-bargy, definitely an English saying.
Oh, actually no, round goes a carb just before the chicane. Big incident right at that pinch point. There was car number 566, I believe, got clipped and rotated. Oh, that was a big old mess. Yeah, car number 566.
Trying to find car number 566. Got him. We shall go back 30 seconds and we'll watch the shame ensue. Where was that then?
That's the wiki. So that was just after turn 3, and it looks like he's retiring from the race, to be fair.
Oh, what a shame. Oh, yeah, no, he lost the rear end and just got nipped by the McLaren. Oh, and chaos. Yeah, absolute chaos behind. Oh, and look, Niles managed to get through all of that. Kevin Niles snuck through. the tide did open for him, and he parted the sea like Moses. Through goes Kevin Niles, no problem whatsoever for him. Yellow flags then on the track then as that damage gets cleared up. And yeah, Apex 1 then, first casualty. As the two teammates battle down towards turn 1 again, getting very racy. Conrad Ciatra following. Tolo Grosser, your fan favourite then, is still part of that pack. There's a little gap then back to Jardier, as you saw, where you've got the Sentema, Terman and Jardier in a little battle of their own. That's 2 seconds back from this pack. And it looks like Luke Whitehead has managed to run away slightly. Got a little bit of gap in his pocket to his teammate, the number 7 Lamborghini. And like you say, running 0 on the TC, we'll be able to see exactly what it's like to go through the Klein chicane. Down through the gears then. Got to play it safe. Oh, it's so unsettling. It's unbelievable how those cars can go through there without spinning. Mad.
Another little incident that happened there on lap 1 between De Campo, car 99, and Jimenez, car number 112. Didn't see the actual incident sort of live occurring, but yeah, those two were both rotated off the circuit, and yeah, car number 112 of Jimenez was had to do about a 1 billion point turn. He was Austin Powers' way, as he was in quite a tight spot and trying to get the car facing the right direction again. So yeah, car number 112 carrying some damage and is well off the back of the pack now.
Never mind. Austin Powers himself, I hear. Brilliant saying. I hope he likes lemon sherbet as well, as Jimenez has got a long afternoon ahead of him, bless him. Austin Powers and yourself on lap 2 is definitely not the one if you're looking to get some good time under your belt. Well, this top bunch have managed to slightly run away. Toro Grosso holding on to Conrad Ciatra, with Conrad at the moment, as he tries to march down on the back of Aidan Walsingham, who's definitely losing time to his teammate. Shall we hop back a little bit and see what's going on in the battle for 11th place or so? There's normally good racing going on a little further back as well, so what have we got going on? Let's see if we can go on board with some of these. We're on board with Arthur Patat, a mainstay in Tier 1 now. He's chasing Luciano for P12. Looks like the the SDL guys are getting a little bit racy. So many acronyms for esports teams now. You just get your SOPs and your SDLs and your EDFs and your Octopus Energies all mixed up.
It all becomes a big... It's just one long acronym, isn't it? Just one long ream of letters. A nice little battle going on for 9th place at the moment between, that is... Nicodem, Avalese and Rayner. Those
We're
three.
watching. We're on board. Don't you worry.
Nice. Happy days. I say, yeah, they're just... there was a bit of a move just before the chicane, but I think Avalese decided maybe not to try and dive up the inside of the chicane. But these three, nearly collecting at the back of Avalese. Rayner got very, very close and just outbraked himself that little bit. Luckily, there was no incident there. But heading up towards the third and final chicane of the lap. It does look like the Lamborghini is just quicker entering the turns. It just seems to be able to carry that little bit more entry speed. But then again, we're going to see the great big thundering Aston Martin being able to just slightly pull away towards the end of the straights. It really is going to be a battle of attrition, this race. Well, I mean, apart from Whitehead, who's already nearly pulled out a second in front of everybody, so it's just, he's just in another dimension this season, isn't he? I mean, he was quick last season, he's quick all the time, but he just has somehow found another load of pace from somewhere, and I have no idea where it's coming from.
He's mustered it from his pockets.
Oh, someone on a charge. Toro Grosso trying to get around the outside of Ciata. That's the battle for 3rd place. I think he's going to make it happen before the 2nd chicane.
Oh, wow. He has.
Oh, little rub.
Very fair.
Yeah, I think that was one of those things of, you know, there's not really many places to go there. although Toro Grosso did have the inside, it then kind of completely cut off Ciata for the second part of the chicane. They gave each other space, but now it's got to be on Ciata's mind that he knows Toro Grosso can outpace him, and that's quite a decent spot. Obviously carrying so much more speed than Ciata out of that first chicane that he was able to completely run past him and get himself right up the inside. And so next time he may not be quite so considerate when it comes to giving him room on the second part of the chicane, and might say, no, you can go through the gravel, go on, off you go. But, you know, obviously without too much argy-bargy, but a little bit of paint, you know, rubbing his racing. We've all been there before.
Can't do that too much around Zolder. The track limits are pretty staunch, hard. They're pretty good. You run wide too much there, you will get a warning, and he probably did get a warning for that. So all he's got to do is keep pushing his luck through there. He probably got a run down from the Klein chicane. We didn't quite see it, but we're watching now then as they come down towards turn 5. Maybe that Porsche just not as good through the unsettling chicanes as the big BMW, and that's exactly what happened. We saw it live on camera. Outside then goes Toro Grosso. He's going to try it again. Gets well ahead into the chicane, and that will be position gain then for the BMW of Alex Toro Grosso. Number 217 then up into third place. He's got himself a podium position because the unsettling Klein chicane not working out for that Porsche, and I think he might be a bit of a sitting duck for the rest of the race, really.
Quick one, Arthur Patat just had a incident at the first chicane. So that was at the Klein. I've jumped back to try and get a bit of an idea of what happened. Oh, I think he downshifted a bit early and over-rotated the car. Just ended up over-rotating, and that was it. He's now just stuck on the second part of the apex, nearly collecting other cars.
Caused chaos,
no
actually.
fault of his
Oh
own.
no, he did. He collected Niles. He didn't. That's a real shame. That.
Yeah, a bit of an odd, because he didn't rejoin the circuit, did he? But it's in one of those awkward spots where, realistically, if he had remained still, that incident wouldn't have happened. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there in terms of sort of penalties and bits and pieces.
Yeah, I would be very, very surprised if something didn't come the way of Arthur Patat.
There was a car facing the wrong direction on the pit straight.
Oh, really?
And I'm not sure what's happened there. Was that car number 5? Car number 5? Who is car number 5?
That is De Klippel.
Klippel.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's now facing the wrong direction just after turn...
Oh, dear.
1? Yes, he's back to the pits. I'm going to go back and have a little quiet look and see what happened there. Oh, incident with the BMW. One of the BMWs as well. That got completely smashed up. So how on earth that happened there, I don't actually know. But that's a right old pickle for those guys.
Yeah, can't quite find the incident that was involving all of them, unfortunately. Every time I try, I fail. Yeah, it looks like... Oh, that's very strange, that. So much damage on that car for Klippel. I think he then decided to park it. That's what happened there. Okay, well, we'll go back then to the racing, see if we can see some live racing from these boys. So we're going to click into gear. We only went about 30 seconds. Come on. And you come on. There we go. We're back. It really doesn't like using the rewind instant replay function on this broadcasting help that we have. Never mind. We give it a go, and if it breaks, it breaks. Right. What's going on then around and about? Santima looks like they're getting very close to Conrad Ciata. Still having problems, I think, through the Klein, Tim.
Yes, sorry, I was going back and I was
all fine.
Look back to see what that incident was. I do apologise. I probably should have warned you in advance.
No, it's fine.
So I found out what caused the incident. Kind of just a really unlucky turn of events, really. It was the... Oh, come on. Here we go. So it was car number 5, over-rotated and got a bit of a tank slapper going on as he came out the final chicane. And obviously there's not a lot of runoff room. Clipped the wall, bounced across the circuit. Even though he was holding the brakes, nothing you could do about it, and then collected one of the BMWs as well. Somehow, everyone else threaded the needle through the gap. But not a lot you can do when you've suddenly got a Beyblade version of a McLaren spinning around in front of you. Sometimes there's not a great deal you can do.
Oh dear, a Beybladed McLaren is definitely not what you want to see at any point of your way round Zolder in a GT3 car. Sentema is slowly reeling in Conrad Ciata, putting the pressure on. Toro Grosso hasn't really run away, second and a half or so. And then you've got that huge battle going on between Avilés, Regina, Luciano with it, Prendergast there for P9. Jardier and Terminen have managed just to keep themselves out of that. We will stay with Abe. Didn't get a good run through the Klein chicane last time around. Was slightly late on the brakes. Trying to capitalise on the Porsche's issues through this section, and yeah, unfortunately didn't go through as smoothly as he wanted to. And the McLaren struggling, I think, slightly too. And we do have some penalties, and I think that is the first of what happened at the beginning of the race. Tim, there's a 5-second time penalty for Nicodem.
Yeah, that's between car number 997 of Nicodem and car number 29 of Vidalik, and that was the exit of turn 1, lap 1. Yep, 5-second penalty picked up for that one.
That's a shame. That's why Vidalik is that little bit further down in P16. Unfortunately, not having the best season is Luca Vidalik. Normally, very, very fast. He's a mainstay in the AOR endurance team, one of the fastest teams. The name of the team eludes me, but it was an absolute world-beating team. I think Luke Whitehead also raced in it for a little bit. I can't remember for the life of me what the team was called. Can you? PTR, possibly?
Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head at all. I think we might be seeing a driver retiring. Car number 56 is in the pits. I didn't see what caused it to sort of begin retiring, but it was off the pace and it was moving off the racing line, and then it clipped the grass, and then it just decided to just go back to the pits. So that's Super Snell Racing. That was Lejeka's car number 56. So odd one there. A bit of an odd one to just drop out as like that. Although, to be fair, even with a 5-second penalty, just notice that Nicodem is certainly not giving up that easily. He is still right in the middle of the battle.
Trying desperately to find out that team. They must have not entered into Season 4 and Season 3. But there you go. Never mind. I don't think it goes back any further than that. I can see if it does, but I don't think it does. Yeah, we don't get any more information apart from Season 3. Season 1, Season 2 lost to the wind then, unfortunately, with AOR Endurance. I think it was began with P anyway. It was a God team. Anyone in chat remembers what that is, then do let us know. Luca Vidalik was part of that outfit and did very, very well. Currently, though, down in P16. We are still with Santima, trying to slowly make moves on the back of Conrad Sciarta. It's not happening at the moment, though, Tim.
No, it does seem that every single time there's a slow corner and then obviously the exit speed of the Porsche is just too good. That rear engine weighing down those tyres so they can really plant the foot to the floor and just drag themselves away every single time at the moment as well. Like sort of every time I keep an eye, I'm on the heli cam a couple of times, sort of trying to keep an eye on the gaps, and in the braking zone, that McLaren does seem to keep cutting right up behind them, but just not able to sort of do anything with it as they're then pulling away after that. So a bit of a shame for him, but as you said, bit of a battle of attrition here at Zolder.
Go down to the number 10 of Kieran Prendergast. Oh my God! Valentin Barrier was so heavy over the Klein chicane. His rear end bounced as he literally landed. Oh, almost a move for Chris Warner there, but didn't quite have the pace in to keep that going. But yeah, you guys saw Valentin Barrier bunny hopping down after he attacked the Klein chicane very hard. So that Lamborghini can really push through there.
I just cannot get over how quick the two Lamborghinis at the front are. I mean, Whitehead, kind of a bit of a given now that he's a very, very fast gentleman and he's pulling away. But again, Aidan Walshingham absolutely flying away. Got himself a 2-second gap over Torregrossa. That is an absolutely huge gap this early in the race. 15 minutes of the race done and they've opened up that kind of gap. As to that, Torregrossa himself also opened up a lovely gap back to Sciarta. So this top three, this sort of, let's say, planned podium, flying away. And to be fair, although Sciarta is now pulling away from Santima as well, so the front of the grid seems to just be trying to spread itself out a little bit, and the rest of the way down, you just got these little clusters battling away for position all over the place.
Luciano there lets Kieran Prendergast through, strangely enough. Very weird that. He didn't want the pressure of Kieran Prendergast behind him and opens up the door and lets him past. Very strange. Brabham car then moving out of the way. Don't think I've ever really seen that in esports, to give a position like that. I'm pretty sure that is Luciano ahead. Now behind. It is. Weird. Okay, well that was actually for position, and maybe Luciano had a hardware issue, had to quickly fix out. He didn't want to risk the cars coming together. I had no idea. He moved out the way and flashed.
He's losing speed. He's losing ground very quickly, to be fair. Noticed it, especially on these... Yeah, it looked like under acceleration that the car just didn't seem to have the same legs. I mean, you're probably going to really notice it as they come out the final chicane. Just look at the way that Prendergast seems to go. But then it's kind of now immediately, as soon as I called it out, it doesn't seem to be quite as obvious. But a bit of a strange one. I wonder if maybe that, like you said, was maybe a bit of a moment of hardware issues, and just rather than sort of getting caught up in the battle and maybe causing an incident, decided no, let the car on through, just go for it.
Yeah. Strange one.
Bit of an odd one. He looks like he's sort of trying to fight his way back now, doesn't he? I mean, what was his lap time there? Yeah, because his lap time was a 1:29. So he was like a second off his best time. That's a big old drop back.
You never know, he might have had to just turn something off and on again, you know? Do a quick reset going down before Klein. I'm not sure. It looked very strange. We're on board then, because I'm watching... Oh my god. The Porsche of Luca Weidlich apparently can take the Klein chicane very well, as Valentin Barrier looks to the inside of Chris Warner and actually gets the position done. Chris has to cut the chicane. He'll get a warning for that, as Valentin Barrier really fights him through the turn 7. He's holding on to the inside line. Warner's going to get the outside then. Valentin Barrier going to have to sacrifice that position. He's got the inside for the next corner. Into turn 8 as we go through turn 9. They're pushing each other so hard here. Luca Weidlich wants a little bit of the action as he tries to tiptoe us into this little threesome that's battling down towards turn 10. And that is Valentin Barrier in the pits then. And Luca Weidlich on the outside of Chris Warner going down towards turn 1.
For a brief moment, I thought that the braking zone had just been completely missed. But no, that was obviously planned. Fair play. That was... bit of a bold strategy to get themselves on the outside there so they could fly off into the pits. Very early for a pit stop, but obviously deciding quicker than the traffic around them, better to jump themselves into the pit. Valentin Barrier, you know, very accomplished racer, so who am I to question the theories? Be interesting to see if Weidlich can now stay on the back of Warner. Obviously no longer squabbling. Is Warner now going to sort of get his toe down, kick it up a gear and be able to get himself away a little bit?
It looks that way. I think this McLaren's definitely struggling through turn 5. Oh goodness, the Porsche just absolute. They have to just yeet themselves through that section. It's not the best for these cars, and they managed to hold on to it. I think it really is a roll of the dice every time they go through that turn 5 complex. Some come through okay, some sideways. I think that's just the way it is here at Zolder.
I think it's a case of you have to make sure that your tyres are going either side of the fully raised curb. If you hit it with a tyre, that super unsettles the car. If you hit it with the underside of the car, it weirdly doesn't unsettle it quite as much, because I guess the wheels are kind of hanging over either side of it. It's the complete opposite of what you do in a lowered car in real life when you see those horrible split speed bumps. Normally you try and creep your way through the middle so both your tyres go on it, but here on the racetrack, and especially at Zolder, it's a case of no, I want my splitter to be shattered into a million pieces, please feed it some curb, and every single chicane they just seem to do that.
Om nom nom, says the front splitter as they yeet themselves through turn 5. We're on board at the moment with Lois Regina, SDL Esports, as he's hunting down the back of Alejandro Avilés, the number 23 boy, trying desperately to get some pace on the back of Nicodem. And they just absolutely yeet themselves through turn 5. Nicodem with the penalty then. So Alejandro doesn't have to really fight this. He knows he's going to get it in the pit stop phase. And Terminen really is the next person up. I have been keeping an eye on Jardier's times, and they have been coming down to Abe Santema. So we'll keep an eye on that little gap. It was less than 7 tenths. It's now less than 5. So we'll keep an eye on what's going on, or roughly 5 tenths. But Jardier's definitely doing the business to get that gap down. Luciano then is actually catching Kieran Prendergast, the man he let past earlier on. And Kieran Prendergast pulls it into the pit then. He doesn't want any more of those tyres. Well, let's see how close Kieran Prendergast is to the man who came in only 1 lap ago. Where is he? Valentin Barrier. We'll go on board with Valentin. Oh my goodness, he's only going through turns 4. So miles away. Who else is in? Luca Weidelich has also pulled the plug and has decided to come in. Valentin Barrier, though, is the fastest of the pitters. This will give you an idea of what 1 lap pace is all about with the undercut. But Valentin Barrier is actually just ahead of the leaders. And he's pitted.
It's quite a long pit stop. You could, if you get it right, it's not very long. If you get it wrong, it's very easy to lose a lot of ground. I mean, the entrance to the pit lane where you're off the racetrack but you're not under pit speeds isn't... Oh, God, there's 2 Lamborghinis further back. Sorry, I'm having a little look further back. Joshua Allen and Van Thielen. The pair of them look like monster trucks bouncing their way along after the first chicane. Goodness gracious, how either of them have got any car left after that, I have no idea, but they've somehow managed to escape it. But going back to it, I mean, the length of the pit entry is absolutely massive, and there are 2 90-degree turns to get you into the pit. And then the exit of the pit also is really long. And again, you're outside of pit, you know, you don't have to be on the pit limiter anymore, but it's how sort of, you know, how brave are you? How heavy is your right foot? Are you going to plant it, or are you going to be a little bit more, so, you know, careful as you rejoin the track? So lots of time can be lost. Maybe it was a case that Valentin Barrier just made a bit of a whoopsie, possibly.
Yeah. Well, there is your answer to the question. What would the pits do? And it's done very well for Valentin Barrier. So Kieran Prendergast came in from roughly around P12. Valentin Barrier came in from the mid-teens, if not a little bit further back, and now they are right next to each other. So yeah, undercut is very good. So we could see actually both these boys now in P23, 24 to start moving their way up into the top 10 if the normal pit stop regime is followed. However, you do have the 2 leaders currently lapping around. Luca Weidelich just behind one of them, probably the better place to be. You can follow Luke Whitehead, use all of his tricks, and hopefully pull yourself up to the back of Valentin Barrier with this little pack at the moment, because it seems to be one of the most interesting things that's happening on track currently. Any of the front runners pulling it in? I don't think they did. No, all of them make the braking zones and decide to go round for one more. 36 then left on the timer. We're on board at the moment with Valentin Barrier, who's actually holding on. Because they've changed tyres now, they will be just slightly faster. Let's have a look at those times then. So Barrier last time around was a 1:28.2. And what do we have from the leader? It was a 1:28.3, so they are actually faster. So that's very interesting at the moment.
Who was battling with Nicodem just before the pits? It was Rayner, wasn't it? Rayner?
Yes, I don't know actually off the top of my head.
For a moment, I was about to say that Nicodem somehow, even with this 5-second penalty that he has served, somehow held on to the position. But then the timing screen changed and it completely ruined what I was going to say. So he hasn't held on to the position, but he is currently our 2nd fastest pitted driver. So even with his 5-second penalty, stays in front of Prendergast and Barrier and Weidelich. So that's not gone too badly for him there, has it really? With a 5-second penalty, he really hasn't lost many positions. I think it is only just the one.
I think we'll all come out in the wash, and the earlier pit will definitely help him reduce some of that deficit. But yeah, well, Nico was definitely running inside the top 5. I think he was around Abe Jardier and all of that lot. So I think he was maybe in between Junco and Alejandro Abalez, but anyway, I can't remember off the top of my head. So yeah, let's see how bad that pit is fared. Right, now we've got some real top runners coming up. Warner coming out of the pit. I think that's Loy's also coming out of the pit. Look at that, getting stuck behind No, that's strange. I thought that we might have overtaken that little bunch, but we didn't. Little bit of information then. So whereabouts is Lois? P17. That was oh no. Maybe we are getting... There we go, that's what I was looking at. Luciano and Kieran Prendergast were battling earlier on, and he did a slightly later pit stop. He's managed to come out way in front of Kieran Prendergast. So Kieran losing out on those pits, Valentine Barrier gaining, and yeah, Luciano doing very well indeed.
Big penalties incoming, Rage. Here we go. So inquiry, including car number 24, 34, 56... 69, 73, 183, 566. This was on lap 1, 10-second penalty and 3 license points for car number 56. 10-second penalty and 3 license points for car number 566. There's no further action for any of the other cars involved. So that was moderate avoidable collision by car number 566. So that is Nowicki, and that is for steering across car 73, and then car 56, which is Lejeka's, also moderate avoidable collision, should have reacted faster to spinning cars ahead. So that's a bit of a harsh one, but there we go. It's lap 1. You've got to be on your toes. You've got to be looking forward to see if there's incidents in front of you, and obviously race control deeming that people were not on their toes enough. But there, that's a big old... Oh, and more coming in as well.
Oh my
We're
goodness.
Just keep on going with it. So this is an incident involving car number 29, 46, 49 and 52. This was lap 1, 5-second penalty for car number 46 and 1 license point. And so this is car number 46, Josh Waring, for defending and immediately braking, giving car 49, Arthur Patak, no time to avoid contact at the first chicane.
Well, I'm going to just jump in there. We have had some interesting developments. Luke Whitehead has pitted and is coming out. Team member didn't follow. Aidan Wilson decided to keep on going. So did Torregrossa. So did Abe Sentema. The only person that followed was Terminen, who was up there towards the top end. He's just leaving the pit now. So yeah, Luke Whitehead in. Maybe he was looking at what happened.
As well,
they can't be too far apart from each other, because I don't think the undercut is that powerful. But we did see it do very well for Valentine Barrier. Let's see what it does for others around. I'm going to see if I can find that battle that we were just on, because it was very good. I think it was with Nicodem and Luciano. There we go. We're on board at the moment. Luciano getting stuck behind. Chris Warner actually wants a piece of this action too. Let's sit literally on board with Kieran Prendergast inside his actual self, as Chris Warner tries to get past Luciano with it.
With these pit stops, look how much it has bunched the entire field back up again. It's as I was saying earlier on, it kind of seemed like it's spread out into these little groups, but now there's an almighty battle pack. So if you say around that car number around 19th place. I think the furthest one ahead, I think we can see there is the two Aston Martins, and then obviously you've got Warner as well in amongst this battle pack. It is lovely how the mandatory pit stop does sort of reshuffle the pack and get everyone nice and close up together again. You don't just get complete runaways. It does like to change things around a little bit.
Well, you can have a good or a bad pit. It's obviously not a scripted thing. You have to come into your pit stop box and you've got to hit it bang on, otherwise you get moved and that costs you time. So yeah, we've seen races won and lost with that move of the pit stop, and also people getting to the pit stop line. You know, we saw a couple of races ago, Luke Whitehead almost hitting the pit wall on entry. So they do push it, and a lot can be gained or lost in that pit stop phase, more so than you would imagine in a faster type of split, Formula 1 for example. You could probably lose even more time in GT3 because those little incidents that you would make are kind of, I guess they just cost you more time overall. So yeah, very interesting to see the whole pack change as we go through the phase of pit stops. Half an hour through then, with 30 minutes to go.
And it doesn't look like there's going to be any rain, Rage.
No.
With 30 minutes on the clock, this might be one of the first races of the season where there hasn't been rain. Oh, goodness.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, thank goodness. You were saying about times when they went into the pits. I have noticed that Walshingham is now only a second off the back of his teammate Whitehead. So he had a much quicker pit stop than Whitehead, because they were definitely multiple seconds apart before the pit stop phase.
Yeah.
So what happened there, I have no idea. I know Walshingham really was wringing the neck out of his car to all the way to the pit line. And I think I can just see, is that Toro Grosso coming out the pits? So he possibly going to be in third.
He is, by the looks of things. Where's Siata? He's got to be very close. No, he's not. He's miles away.
And that gap there, all the way, sort of looking forward to Walshingham, is not that far away. Obviously, the car's got to get up to speed. He's going to lose ground pretty much this entire lap as he gets himself going. But that was not a bad run to get himself back out. But yes, Siata sort of a good couple of 100 yards back down the track. He's going to have warmer tyres, but is it going to be close enough to actually be able to do anything about it at this stage in the race? 28 minutes, 45 seconds left. It's going to be a close one, I think. I think Toro Grosso is really going to have to knuckle down and keep doing what he was doing in the first half of this race and see if he can keep pushing forward. Oh, and even more penalties coming in now. Oh, God, goodness gracious. So many numbers. Car number... So it involves car number 29, 60, 99, 112 as well. So lap 1, 10-second penalty for car number 60 and a licence point, and a 5-second time penalty for car number 112 and a licence point. So this is 112 Jimenez for applying brakes during a spin far too late. And then car number 60, Luciano, that's the name I don't think I've said before, Vitavoet, for tapping and spinning car number 112. So
we're on board with Luciano at the moment, so Luciano kind of getting the bad end of that penalty, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he was the one that initiated the spin for car number 60. Oh no, sorry, for spinning car number 112. But then obviously the stewards sort of...
I can't find you. It's Jose Jimenez.
Yeah, so I wonder if that was a case of, obviously, as the car then did get rotated, maybe the brakes just weren't applied and held quite soon enough. It does happen. Sometimes you think, oh, I can save it, and then suddenly you're not saving it and it all goes very, very wrong. We've all been there. We've all tried to save trying to save a big old tank slapper and then ended up making a right old mess of it. Sometimes you just have to concede defeat and just hold on to the brakes, and at least then you're reasonably predictable as to where the car's going to go.
I know we definitely had some movers earlier on with that. Obviously, I think Kevin Niles was caught up in that. I think, sorry, JF, I know you like us to keep an eye on Kevin Niles. I think he's out. I think he's not taking any further part in this by the looks of things. He's been stationary for a little while, bless him. I don't think Kevin Niles is taking any further part in this race. Never mind, I'm sure he'll be back for next time. Let's go on with this battle that's getting slightly more spicy. Actually, saying that, there's a battle that might start happening very soon in the way of Jardier and co. Where's Abe Sentema? Coming out of the pits, possibly? Where are we?
No, Sentema is right in front of Jards.
Oh yes, you're right. The gold car. I don't know what car I was looking for, but yeah, no, you're right. It looked like they were chasing each other out of the pit, but they weren't. They were chasing each other on track, and that's the battle that I wanted to see. I was like, well, it didn't look like Jards close to anyone. I thought Ed was a back marker, and it's not. It's for position, and it's for 5th position. Jards has been doing that for a little while, hasn't he? Trying to get this position. Oh, kangarooing through Klein again.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's high risk but high reward. If you get your line perfect through Klein, then you pretty much straight line the chicane, you carry all that entry speed, and the car settles and you sort of fly your way out reasonably well. But as we just saw, Jards was really, really good entry speed, but just because of the way the car bounced over the exit of the corner, he then lost all his traction and then wasn't able to make any kind of move. So all the the ground he'd gained in the braking zone was immediately lost and thrown away again as the car tried to get traction. It's one of those things, you don't want to run the car too soft so that the car continues to bounce, but you don't want to run it too stiff either, otherwise when you hit the floor then immediately it just sort of sends the car spinning off all over the place. It's very much a gamble. These top tier guys really know what they're doing, and they would have spent a lot of time, I imagine, just absolutely thundering through those chicanes over and over again, tweaking the setup to their liking. But over the bulk of the lap, Santima does appear to be losing ground. But then it just seems where it's important and where the opportunities come around, Santima can just seem to get away. I wonder if that's where it's that mid-engine car, engine sort of, you know, applying weight to both front and rear tyres a bit more evenly than the Aston Martin. Although the Aston Martin does seem to have a lovely run now down towards the first chicane. It's using that top speed advantage. Who's going to be bravest here? They both bounce a little bit. Bit of a stalemate this time round. There was no real massive gains from either party. Reasonably conservative lines. They're quite conservative lines from the pair of them. We saw like Whitehead and Walshingham absolutely throwing it through. Toro Grosso's put in the fastest lap of the race. When was that put in? Fantastic effort. Toro Grosso with a 1:27.367.
Last lap, yeah.
Yeah, so absolutely flying. That's nearly 0.3 of a second quicker than Walshingham and Whitehead at the moment.
Talking of those two, looks like Whitehead has opened the gap now to over 3 seconds. There you go, just over 3. Toro Grosso's 8/10 behind Walshingham, so that might change a little later on in the race. Ron Gordon at the moment with Jards, see if he can unlock Abe Santama just ahead. I'm not sure if they're able to. Just that McLaren seems to be very good, very even. He's got a good setup, I think. It's probably helping. Yeah, where do you gain? It's got to be into turn 5, the chicane. Try and gain through there, through someone's unfortunate entry or exit. Someone gets it a bit rougher than you do, and you manage to come away, get the drive through. It'll be really interesting to talk to these guys afterwards and see how they approach such a tricky corner. You know, whether you take a lot or whether you avoid at all cost. You saw both incidents there. No avoiding from Jards, and Abe definitely getting out of the way of the second bump on the chicane. They're all over the curbs though, through turn 7, start of 7.
There's lots of incidents flying through the stewards' panels at the moment. Don't worry, the last 3 have all been put down as racing incidents, no further actions. But there's quite a lot. I quite like this one, an incident between car number 11 and 23, and it's saying no further action, and then it's just put hard racing by both drivers. So nice. Fair play. That's I like that call. It's a case of both of them were a bit rough and tumbly, and they made some contact, but they were both as equally rough and tumbly as each other. So yeah, I quite like that one.
Was that 11 and 23? Did you say? That's Chris Warner and Alejandro Alvarez. So yeah, good racing between both of those. Still on board with Jards, desperately trying to piece a way of attack on Abe Santama. Still not able to get past, as Niles watches on from the pits. Indeed, bless him. He's got a front row seat there at least. At least doesn't have to move. Oh,
nice opportunity to sit down, isn't it?
Yep. Little bit of dirt on the exit. Jards got to be careful here. You can easily yeet the car in front through 5. Oh, doesn't get the drive out of the chicane as well as the McLaren, but you've got to be so careful that you don't cause an incident because you're quicker through that area, because both cars really unnaturally slow down through that section, and yeah, Jards actually timed that pretty well. Didn't make a lunge and didn't keep his... He probably went in with a little bit of caution. Very hard that section to stay incredibly close. You've got to hope really that your competitor has a bad entry and exit, and you can get them down to turn 6 and 7.
It's one of those corners as well. Like, you don't want to be too close to the car in front as you are midway through that first chicane. Because obviously, if they get a bad exit and they suddenly start to get a bit of a tank slapper, it can sometimes be very hard to work out where they're going to go. And obviously, with balls all along that left-hand side of the circuit, it can end up being a bit hairy if they're spinning towards it, and then suddenly they're going to ricochet off like a pinball. You're sort of thinking, oh, do I want to be flat? Do I want to, keep my foot to the floor, or am I going to back off just that little bit and play it safe? And all of those things running through your mind can then also cause you to sort of have a bit of a wobble going through the chicane. It really is one of those places you have to hit absolutely 100% confident that your car can handle it. Jards looks to the inside now, just showing his nose, maybe just trying to unsettle Santima a little bit. Both going through. I definitely think that the McLaren is running a softer setup. It doesn't seem to be sort of reacting as harshly to going through that chicane, whereas Jard's car definitely looks like it's more sort of a bit bumpier, a bit stiffer on the shocks and springs, possibly.
More forgiving, I think. Definitely want through that corner, but obviously you're going to offset the forgiving nature of your setup for the rest of the corner, rest of the track. So, you know, is it worth that? That's the question. I'm sure they've done a bit of testing and whatnot to find out if that's the case. Doesn't look like Charge is carrying any damage though either, and you can definitely see the damage on the front of the number 14. So, and on the side, but nothing at all for Jards.
They are both hemorrhaging time though. Last time round they did well. So obviously they just crossed the line again, but this previous lap was a 1:28 for both those drivers, and that has allowed Avalays to start sneaking up onto the back of them. I imagine soon enough, Jards is not going to be able to look forward. He's going to have to be checking his mirrors, and after that, the Lamborghini comes flying up behind him. The XBD Emerald Racing Lamborghini. It's probably just starting to sneak into the back of the shop. Jard's very close, but losing time to drivers behind him.
I think they're both losing time. I don't think Jards has got enough in the pocket to make a move, but obviously they're slow enough to be being caught by the cars behind, because obviously they're not fighting, but both Jards and Santema are. And maybe that's, like you say, it's reeling in Alejandro. Alejandro's looking quite menacing actually back there. He won't mind, he'll throw one up the inside, I'm sure. Conrad Ciata settling in 4th place after Abe and Jards are going toe-to-toe in the latter end of this race. Toro Grosso is actually, oh my goodness, Toro Grosso is catching Walsingham like a fair amount. 4/10. We'll keep an eye on that time. Oh, no, it's got up to 5. Maybe Walsingham had a bad lap. We'll keep an eye on his lap times. It didn't look too bad. 1:27.6. Ah, there you go, 1:28. Oh, that's Conrad Ciata, my bad. Let's have a look. Aidan Walsingham, 1:27.3. It wasn't that bad. Toro Grosso had a blinder though, 1:27.8. 1:27.08. So really fast lap from Alex Toro Grosso. Maybe that was just on pace then. Jard's looking very close now, Tim.
Yeah, that was an improvement. Toro Grosso already had the fastest lap of the race, but he improved on the last time round again. So retaking fastest lap honours. So yeah, on an absolute charge at the same time as Walsingham possibly dropping off the pace a little bit. But yeah, the main battle to keep an eye on definitely is this Santima Honzig Avalays battle that is continuing to keep going.
Jard's wide. Lost time there. He's going to have Avalays for company, I think. Whereabouts is he? Oh no, he's got a little bit of a gap. Good stuff. Yeah, it looked like he was just slightly off angle in the entry of the Klein chicane. That means the second bump, he was way offline. So yeah, came through okay, but definitely wasn't the quickest way through, and it compromised his run through 6. So he's lost time slightly. It was only a 10th or 2 to Santema. Avalays was quick to capitalise on that little mistake there. That's what's all that has to happen from the car ahead. Just a small little incident, and that's it. They're on.
To be fair, there could now start to be a little bit of a smart play from Santima. If he can get his car in the right spot and just slow Jards just down enough to allow Avalays onto the back of him, then that might give him a little bit of breathing room and he can try and get away. If he knows he can't escape Jards on pure pace, he might have to sort of do a bit of a tactical play, just slow him down just enough. Ooh, looking like a good run through turn 1 and 2 by Avalays. All sort of spread out a little bit this lap. There's a little bit more of a gap between them all. We'll see what happens into the braking zone down towards the chicane. But this, for the first time in a long time, is looking like Santima actually isn't looking in the mirrors and he can just look forward and try and go for it. But a lot of curb strike there. God, how the McLaren's taking those curbs, I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah, he's got a good route through there at the moment, hasn't he? He's managed to work it out. Toro Grosso still hopping around the 3-4 tenths margin to Walsingham. Again, very similar to what we're watching right now. All it takes is a small incident and Toro Grosso will be all over the back of Aidan Walsingham. That BMW, very fast here today. Very fast indeed. We've not seen this kind of pace from Toro Grosso in a long time. So yeah, mighty pace. Might even displace a Veloce boy in the process. We'll keep an eye on that split as the race carries on. So 14 and some change to go. And I think this is probably the best scrap we've got on track at the moment. De Campo also quite close, but he's dropped off a little bit in that little phase. We've been watching this little battle for a while, so we might as well stay with it as Alejandro tries to weave his magic to get up into the gearbox of Jardier, as he tries desperately to get into the gearbox of Santema. Not too sure where it's going to happen. You know, he's got to try something different without compromising himself. It's now really bad because you've got that car there. You don't want to try anything else because of the consequences you could have on your position. So it's, you know, it's win some, you lose some. But yeah, what do? Do you wait for your nearest competitor to make a mistake, or do you try and force a mistake with the risk of making your own mistake and you losing a position to the man behind? Very tough question to ask.
Yeah, I think at this point you've sort of almost got to start looking at championship points, not just looking at the getting yourself on the podium, or looking at what are we going to get. You want points mean prizes, and so obviously, I mean, Jard's in second place in the championship at the moment. He's got a 64-point lead over Conrad Ciata, and then Aidan Walshingham following up behind him, and then Nicodem down in fifth place in the championship. So realistically, the only person he would like to be in front of is going to be Ciata, and that doesn't seem like that's going to happen. Although we're up in fourth place at the moment and having quite a good run, sort of bar any incidents. So if we're looking at where Santema is in the championship, I'm going to scroll quite a long way down in 19th place. So it's not worth throwing the entire race away and crashing yourself out to try and get an advantage over someone that is so far away from you in the championship. I think he can afford to sort of lose this one to Ciata this time round. He can't let that continue. Obviously, Avilés, who is right behind him, is 10th in the championship, so isn't that far behind on points. The Avilés running along at the moment with, he's got 126 points in total. So, I mean, I think Jard's he's got 296, hasn't he? So I just didn't realise how big the gap was. I think regardless, if he comes across the line as he is, he's going to hold on to second place overall in the championship. But then with only 2 rounds left to go, obviously we got the hour and a half of Kailami, and then I think, is it Monza we finish at this season? I should know on the top of my head. I honestly can't remember.
Yes,
I'll have a quick scroll down through.
Yes,
big. So Kailami next time round, which is 90 minutes.
Yes.
And then Monza to round out the season. That's 60 minutes of racing. So it's not worth throwing it all away just for the sake of of trying to get as far up the grid as possible. Anyone who's a fan of British touring cars will know the older Sutton, who has really come along quite a lot as a driver, always used to just be absolutely forever pushing forward, but sometimes that was at the risk of his championships, just because he wanted to get himself further up. He wanted the battle, he wanted to go for it, and I think that's where you see someone like Jards, who's had a lot of practice, a lot of racing under his belt, that racecraft where he can just think to himself, I'm all right, I don't need this position. I want it, but I don't need it. And that's the difference I think we're seeing here with just over 11 minutes of the race left. He's not going stupidly aggressive. He's just maintaining some pressure, hoping that Santema makes a mistake, but not getting himself into a dangerous position. And I think that's probably a wise move.
Just got to hold out for that mistake. If it happens, just keep that pressure there. Keep yourself looming. And fingers crossed something does happen ahead. I did skip up to Torregrossa because he was getting quite close to the back of Aidan Walshingham, but yeah, it's fallen back slightly now, unfortunately. So we'll hop back down to what we've been watching, but we'll keep an eye on that Torregrossa Walshingham pairing. Yeah, it's actually gone down a little bit further. Right, we've got some drive-throughs coming in then. Loy's got himself a slap on the wrist there, by the looks of things. In P8, so that's pretty much a park up and go home penalty. That will be for track limits. Where is Lloyd's? It's P8. It's behind this little battle that we're watching right now.
That's a mega penalty, isn't it? The old drive-through. The only one worse than that is obviously the stop go 30. When you get that really is a pack it up and go home kind of penalty, isn't it? You just think, well, that's me done.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rayner will be very disappointed with that. Running 8th this evening. That was a good old finish that could have been on the cards there for him, and he'd be very upset with that one. I'm having a little look to see where was his best finish so far.
A fantastic battle going on. Sorry to interrupt you, Tim.
Go for it.
It's for P14, Chris Warner, and fan favourite Van Thalen. Yentl trying to hold back the might of Apex 1 Racing. Chris Warner desperately trying to get past. They went side by side in 3 corners, and it was fantastic defending from Van Thalen, keeping that car behind. So yeah, good stuff from the 214. Considering he started at the back of this race, Tim, you've got to remember, didn't qualify, he's in P15. 14.
Yeah, he's made his way up through, well, half the grid, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, and this is a tier 1 grid. This isn't just any old random lobby online where you could have fast boys and slow boys all mixed in all together. These they stand shoulder to shoulder, most of these guys. So it's a case of you're not just going to win it easy peasy. It's not a case of first to last challenge. This isn't the place to do it. This is a qualifying first and hope for dear God you can hang on to it the entire race. So to make up half the grid, that's a good old push, and keeping themselves out of trouble. Sort of lovely blood red as well, that car. It's
cool, isn't it?
Very nice. Sort of a chromey colour, the Van Thalen machine.
Yentl the Lentil Van Thalen, as he's now known, the 214 in P14, and held on. Staunch defence for Chris Warner. I don't think it was an overtake. I'm pretty sure it was a defence. It might have been an overtake, and we got to the end of it. But anyway, it was fantastic driving from the Yentl Lentil. He's in P14. Right, what have we got going on further up?
Mistake! There was a mistake up front. Santima, he's rotated in the first chicane. He has rotated in the first chicane, all on his own. Too much curb strike. If you are able to go back and watch that one, I think that's probably a good one to watch.
Watching. Through turn 4 then. We're on board with Yards. He's chased down Santema. Whereabouts does it happen? Oh yes, all 4 wheels off the floor. That's where it happened then. Unfortunate for Abe. Not an incident you really want to see. So there you go. That was what we were talking about. And he's waited it out, and the incident has happened in front of him. Where did Santema go down to? P13, I think. Unfortunately. Whereabouts are they? Oh, they've come out just behind the Lentil himself.
Oh, already going up the inside of Lentil there and pushing forward. Oh, but he's gone deep in the final chicane. That's a risky one. He's going to
look at the cars going around him.
It's all just going a little bit Pete-Tong for him there, isn't it? And he's now lost out to Chris Warner as well.
Defensive
very lucky
for Yentl.
Oh, there's an incident in front of him.
Car's going 3 abreast almost into turn 2 and 3. Fantastic driving from Yentl the Lentil, holding back Chris Warner, and Santema almost getting that position back after losing it into turn 1.
Oh, yeah, the McLaren went a little bit wobbly there. Chris Warner's looked like he lost a little bit of pace on the exit. Oh, he's squeezing out a little bit too much of a squeeze and unsettles Santema again. And to be fair, Santema was there on the outside. He had the right to be there. He wasn't trying to come up the inside or anything. And Chris Warner just moved over a little bit and just nudged him onto the grass, and that meant he had to cut the chicane completely. Didn't lose too much time, and luckily didn't lose another position, but now Vidalik is right on the back of him. It's all gone from bad to worse for Abe. It's all gone from bad to worse.
Yeah, it's a shame. Definitely a shame. Torregrosa's lost then a little bit of time to Aidan Walshingham. Looks like he's turned up the wick slightly. 5 minutes to go then in this race. We've not really spent any time whatsoever with the Ripper this afternoon. He is out and away with 3 seconds to hand. To be fair, over a race distance, it's not been domination as we normally see it from this man. He's still got work to do, and he's, to be fair, Aidan's probably kept him quite honest throughout this race. He's not been on the bumper, no, but he's been looming the whole time. Alejandro currently just behind Jardier, and he's looking to find a position on the check man. No positions found, unfortunately, for Alejandro. He's going to have to wait a few more laps to try and maybe force a mistake from the widely known streamer. I don't think he will. I think this is probably where they end if Jards can keep it on the black stuff, which I'm sure he will. Never really one for a huge mistake is is Jardier, but we'll see. You never know. Looks like Luka Weidlich actually got past 8, by the way, as they go toe-to-toe into the 7 complex. And they've got Valentin Barrier now for fun. So that should be interesting. Losing them all fantastic amounts of time by doing all of this. But Luka Weidlich got himself a position there. And all the while, the Lentil himself is in P12 from the back of the grid.
Barrier looking at the inside now of Santima. Doesn't quite get it done, but he gets a good half a car's overlap down through the hairpin. And it really seems like Santima, ever since he went off, maybe the car sort of picked up a bit of damage that we weren't aware of. I mean, normally the cars don't really get any damage from hitting the floor. It's one of those weird things that the way the sim works, you sort of don't get damage for impacting. So technically you could drop the car from a great height and it will be fine. But it doesn't seem to be quite as fighty as he was a few minutes ago, really, when he was battling out up there with Jards. So what's going on there, not sure. But, I mean, to be fair, he's surrounded by, Weidlich and Barrier, 2 fairly good boys, especially Barrier. I mean, that's a name, that's... You could find that under a rock in the Stone Age. He's been around for so long at this point.
I think it might be the snowball effect, when you have a mistake and something goes wrong, it's very hard to find your rhythm again and get back into the frame of mind of not making other mistakes, especially as everyone around you sees blood in the water and knows, God, this person's having a nightmare. Quickly, up the inside, round the outside, and tries to make positions, just like you see from Valentin Barrier here. How Barrier's got his car in one piece, the amount of times I've seen him on all, pretty much just on one wheel, it's quite surprising. He's not got one scrape on that Lamborghini, and what a fine Lamborghini it looks anyway. But yeah, no marks on that paint at all. Badowski, Marco, in P17 in a Mercedes. Not seen a Mercedes this afternoon so far. It must have been bopped into infinity because it used to be very good round here. He's in P17 currently. But yeah, Jard still suffering the Alejandro effect in 5th place. But the gap is slowly widening, but it's still around 4-5 tenths. Toro Grosso, though, look at that. That's definitely closed up. 3 tenths, and they were neck and neck going into the final chicane there. We might have a Sergio Perez-style incident in the final lap here, Tim.
He's really on an absolute charge. I mean, I don't know where he's caught this pace from. I mean, is this where he is pressing his, Dominic Toretto Fast and Furious style nitrous button that we saw in qualifying from Whitehead and Walshingham? Is this what Toro Grosso has been playing the long game? He's been keeping himself in check and in tow of Walshingham and is now going fully on the attack. I mean, obviously there is no bias here, but it would be fantastic to see these two proper going bumper to bumper all the way to the line.
It could possibly have been. It's most likely a mistake from Walshingham, but the only reason I'm saying it might not have been, Toro Grosso might have not made a mistake here and might not have any track limit warnings and think, well, I can absolutely yeet through turn 5 now because it doesn't matter. I've only got 3 laps anyway, so if I get 3 warnings, all is fair and end. I won't get a penalty. So it might be that he's just been a very good boy and thought, you know what, now I can turn the wick up. So that could possibly have what happened, but I don't think so. I think there might have been a mistake that we missed. But we'll stay with this battle because it looks like it's going to get pretty hot and heavy because this BMW can just absolutely go through turn 5. And what a fantastic middle part of turn 4 that he just had, was just eating up Walshingham in the apex, which was mental. Let's see what happens then with the BMW. Is let loose through turn 5. It wasn't as dominating as I thought it would be. I'm pretty sure he maybe just kept it clean there.
Yeah, I think that was just a super good quick run there from Walshingham as well. He just seemed to just glance over those curbs there. I don't know how on earth the Lambo made it through the way it did. It is looking like maybe that Walshingham is struggling to get the apex on some of these faster corners though. So maybe the front tyres on that car just starting to sort of just eke away. Maybe not, maybe he has not carried them quite as well as Whitehead and his teammate has. And obviously Whitehead, not only has the pace, we've seen he's a great strategist as well. So whether or not maybe Walshingham's tyres are just faring a little bit worse, and Toro Grosso trying to take advantage of a big load of dirt there on the outside on that final turn for Walshingham. Not enough to slow him down too much.
Well, it is
but actually Toro Grosso was into the 28s that lap, so he was right off on the pace as well.
Yeah, last lap for Aiden was a 27.8, and then Toro Grosso got a 28.0 almost. But this is it. This is the last-ditch attempt then. If Alex wants to try and get past, he's going to have to force the point. And look who could cause problems here. You've got Abe September off the pace and in the way. You've got some traffic here as we come down to the chicane that we've been talking about all race long. And Alex yeets it through. Looks like Walsingham didn't get the best of runs. He's being a little bit cautious. Abe to the outside then. Torregrossa, I don't think he's going to have any chance to get past now. He might have a run down into turn 8, but I'm not too sure he's going to have enough now. I think we're going to hold on for Volopche for a 1-2, but yeah, what a fantastic try from Alex Torregrossa. Luke Whitehead, we might as well stay with him as he works his way to the end here, because he's had, well, I said it wasn't dominating earlier on. It's been pretty good, isn't it, really? Pretty good outing here at Zolder. He does well in Belgium, and he's doing well in season 14. It's 3 wins, I think, possibly 4 wins out of 5 now. I think it's 4 out of 5 with 1 podium. But there you go, Luke Whitehead is your maximum point scorer. Aidan Walshingham coming across the line to take some really good points. And look at this, Jardier right on the back of Conrad Ciata through the final corner. He wanted a bit of action there and wasn't able to get it or get all the points he wanted. And yeah, 4th place for Ciata, 5th for Jards as he ran him to the line. We'll jump back down to Yentel the Lentil because he is in 11th place, right on the back of your boy Kieran Prendergast. He might run him to the line for points here. And they do swerve and they do tussle, but no points gained. Yentel, though, almost inside the top 10 from the back of the grid. What a race from him. Luca Vidalith crosses the line. Abe Sentema crosses the line to finish that disastrous race for him. Walter Bullen with the wee shite machine. Love that name. Coming across the line in P20. And that's pretty much it. Kargulu, unfortunately, not having a very good race this time. The fan favourite, the keyboard warrior himself, in P24 after the penalties. Well, how do you summarise that?
Josh Waring, I think, might have run out of fuel.
Oh,
he
no.
hasn't made the line.
Where is he?
He is
just
before
has.
the final chicane.
Oh, he has run out of fuel. Oh, that's terrible. Is it? Can anyone push him along? Come on, let's get Waring across.
Is it running? I'm not sure. Is it running?
Let's go.
There's no. The car number 7 is the closest behind, and they've obviously finished the race completely.
Can anyone come round? Where's Barrier? He might be able to come round and push him across the line. Can we get anyone to see if they can get round? Don't go to the pit. Come on, Josh. Stay there, Josh. If you can hear us. Telekinesis. Come on, Valentine Barrier can push him across the line.
Don't think it's going to happen. Oh, goodness gracious. What a way to end the race, to run out of fuel on the final lap. I mean, there is no refueling allowed here.
Where is he? Is he still on the track? No, he's come back.
He's gone back in. So, comes across. That's going to put him in 27th? No. I'm not sure where that's going to put him. 22nd, it's now saying, but that's as people are leaving the server. So we'll have to have a bit of a look. But
someone could have pushed him across the line there, because you've got Valentine Barrier and Van Thielen still running around. They're only coming through the last corner now. They technically could have pushed him across the line.
I guess it's one of those things, if you just don't think, you probably think it's someone that's finished the race, and then that was just where they've decided to pull over. You don't necessarily think,
know.
Oh, they need a bump. Doesn't always happen, does it? Oh, yeah, 21st place. I think they ended up being. I think
I have had a push over the line once before. In another league, that was quite funny. Run out of fuel on the final lap and had to be pushed across the start-finish straight by a friend. I didn't end up DNFing at least, or losing a lot of points, but there you go. It has happened. Anyway, Luke Whitehead, maximum points this afternoon. Can the man be beaten this season? Well, who knows? Let's see if we can have a little chat with the boy who did good. Driver of the day for me, though, 100% Van Thielen.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great effort, wasn't it? Really, absolutely massive. I'm going to come out and say I was really impressed by Torregrossa. He held on to the back of the two, absolutely monstrous Lamborghinis. I think he's going to get my driver of the day for myself. I kind of secretly hoped he'd manage to stay up there at the pointy end of the field, and he did. He picks himself up a bronze cup, and fair play. I think that was a fair effort. He's surrounded by absolute giants like Ciata, Jards and Avalays, and obviously hanging onto the back of Walshingham and, really sort of stretching it all the way to the line. I think that's, a huge effort from him. That's fantastic effort, in my opinion.
BMW does do good round here, so yeah, very well done for him. Let's pull Luke up then and have a little chat with the race winner. Luke, we're talking to you again from the top step. We're almost whispering between each other, can this man be stopped this season? Almost seemed easy, but it looked like that Aiden kept you honest.
Oh, yeah, first off, good evening, everyone.
Evening.
Hope you're doing well as usual. Yeah, it was anything but easy, to be honest with you. I mean, the pace was really good. First stint, car felt amazing. Pressures were a little bit high, which led to my drop off at the end of the stint. And also, obviously, catching those back markers really lost me a lot of time. And then the second stint, the car was a complete mess, to be honest. Wouldn't ride curves properly, wouldn't corner properly, and just felt like an absolute nightmare. And add to that the fact I got my third warning on my outlap in my second stint. It was very nerve-wracking. But then, of course, Aiden had the same problems. So I think it was a Lambo thing, mostly. So we were really struggling. And obviously, Toro Grosso was super quick. So GG's to him. Massive shout-out to him. That's awesome from him. But, he kept us very honest. I think he was probably he was the fastest of us three in the race. And I think in quali, he probably could have had pole as well. So he was really the dark horse. But as I say, around here, you can't overtake. It's a bit like Monaco. So if you qualify pole, you're likely to win if you don't make any mistakes. And obviously, again, with the curbs and the Lambo being how it is over the curbs, it's not guaranteed. But luckily, we kept it safe, kept it relatively on the straight and narrow. And another 1-2 for the team as well, which is very positive.
Fantastic. Well, what I was going to say is we had a little chat at the beginning of the race because we weren't sure what happened with that qualifying lap. Did you just think, right, it's the last lap, I'm just going to go through the Klein curve, just yeet, and see what happens? Because both of you gained 3/10 on your final push lap. Was that just a coincidence, or was it balls to the walls, we're just going to absolutely ride it?
Well, I mean, it was a bit of a coincidence for sure, because I had more time in that lap. Like on the previous lap, I was up by even more, and then I invalidated. And even in that last lap, I lost about 1/10 in the first sector just by being really messy. I just overshot turn one, dipped a wheel in the gravel, and had a massive slide. So then I just knew then that I needed to get a good lap to get pole, because obviously at that point I was second, and I knew other people would improve. So I just got lucky on the chicanes, really. That's all there was to it. Got quite lucky. And final sector was okay. It could have been better, but it was okay, and it was enough to get pole. So, I mean, the thing with Zolder is obviously sector 1 and 3 are the skill sectors, so to speak. And sector 2 is either about how good your setup is over bumps, how good your car is, or just how lucky you are. Because again, you can take the same line 15 laps in a row, and only once you'll get it right. So it's so random, the kind of result you get when you hit those curves. The second chicane, not so much, but the first chicane for sure is a lottery. It really is. So as I say, I was very fortunate to get that lap in at the end, and obviously so was Aiden. And I mean, that was crucial. I think if we hadn't, then Toro Grosso would have just ran away with it. So yeah, as I say, very crucial that we got those laps in.
Good. Well, it puts you in a fantastic place for the championship. That's the main thing. You'll be on 479 points. Jard's obviously not as close last time around. Conrad Ciata, I think, a little bit further behind him. They did actually fight to the line. I think they were 4th and 5th. But yeah, I mean, Toro Grosso looked ridiculously quick. Aiden was obviously right there all the time. Was there ever a doubt of what was going to happen into turn 1? Because it looked like you might have run a little bit wide as well coming out of turn 1 on the first lap. Literally as the green lights fell. Did you notice that yourself? You hit the gravel and it caused you a little bit of maybe the car to be a little bit unsettled?
Yeah, well, I was a little bit nervous because obviously if you're starting on the inside at Zolder, if you don't, get the authority through turn 1, they can easily just go back at you into turn 2 and you lose a load of time then. Because if you're on the outside at turn 2, you just go onto the marbles and you lose bundles of places. And I didn't really want that to happen. So I sent it into turn 1. Yes, I overshot and obviously had a big slide on the gravel, which was a bit sketchy. But luckily, if anything, that did me a favour because it meant that Aiden had to go to the left of me into turn 2, and it just meant that you can't do anything from there really. So it kind of did me a favor. It was unintentional. I'm not going to pretend that it was some big brain play, but yeah, it was definitely a bit. Also, just on cold tires, just kind of hoping the grip would be there, and obviously the grip seemingly just not being there on the first couple of laps. I mean, the first sort of 4 laps, really, there was no grip at all. And obviously the cold temps really aiding that as well. And Zolder being generally quite a low grip track anyway, lends itself to a bit of, scary antics, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, as you say, it's good to get another win under a belt. Probably, it's a shame really that Mazzano kind of sticks out there like a sore thumb. But I mean, the next 2 tracks are pretty weak for myself, so I needed a bit of a gap. So we'll see how we go.
Mazzano was the best race of the season so far. It wasn't because you weren't at the top step. It was because of everything that happened. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about the Mazzano issue. But you almost got yourself a Verstappen-esque season. At the moment, to be fair, it's probably more Verstappen-esque because it hasn't been exactly perfect, but almost. But hey-ho. Fantastic session, mate. We'll see you again next week for 90 minutes of Kyalami. It's going to be a long one.
My least favourite track and the longest race.
90 minutes of Kyalami.
Is there rain? Is there chance of rain?
I've got no idea. I don't know.
Oh, there better be.
Hang on, let me have a little look. We can look into this now. Calendar.
Oh, it's 100% dry. Oh, lovely. Yeah, no, great.
I don't know how we found that. How do you find that? Is that just
on the website?
Yeah, it's on the. If you go on the calendar, it gives you an idea. There was a 7% chance of rain this evening.
I can't see that.
And then there's none.
Just see
there's absolutely
results. I can't see.
And oh god, and then Monza. Oh dear. Well,
then Monza at the
2 week
end.
tracks for me should be. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to those, but I'll do my best. You know how it is. I'll try my best. So.
Try your best. Well, Luke, thank you very much for the chat. I'm sure we'll talk to you before the season's out, but it's almost. I mean, if you win next time, I think it's mathematically impossible for anyone else to win, so we might be crowning you next time out. So, yeah, bring the champagne.
You know how it goes.
Bring the champagne. Anyway, thank you, Luke. I appreciate it.
Yeah, have a good one, boys.
See you soon, buddy. Well done. Well done.
Thanks, great. Bye-bye.
I know Toro Grosso he's already in. You've already dragged him in. He is here
instantaneously. The man of the hour, the BMW that could. Toro Grosso, well done, buddy. 3rd place, almost 2nd, wasn't it?
Thank you.
It was incredibly close. Was there? I mean, you were always a bit of a threat. Luke kind of put you down as one of the biggest threats at the beginning of that race. Did you think you had the pace from the get-go to put some moves on those guys?
I had the pace, but it's Zolder, so it's gonna be. I'm actually surprised. I overtook the Porsche, but I'm gonna be honest. I'm more than happy than being at the pace I've been today than finishing 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. I didn't care. What I care is that I got the speed and I hope I can translate that to other circuits. I knew I was going to be strong on Zolder, but yeah, still need to improve and at least on other tracks.
Because I know you've been quite, you've been around a fair amount in AOR Tier 1. Is this I'm going through all of as many as I can see. I think you have joined us a few times in for a chat. It's not your first ever podium, is it?
It's my first ever podium.
Is it really?
I'm listening to this free and broadcasted, yeah. I joined once because you guys liked to interview whoever. I remember I finished P10 in Republica and I joined for a chat.
Fantastic.
I'm glad they're here, to be honest.
It did run through my mind. I was like, I don't think we've spoken to Alex before. Well done, buddy. That's fantastic. It's good to see you on the podium for your first time in AOR. You can sleep well now. You've done it. Only 2 more steps to go. And you can get yourself some proper gold medals to go with your bronze silverware now. But well done. Good to have you in the comms box to have a little chat afterwards. I mean, like you say, do you think it was on the cards to get Aiden at the end there? What happened? Did he make a mistake? Because you reeled him in so quickly at the end, or did you were just faster?
I had the pace, but he was doing as well mistakes from what I could see from behind.
Mm-hmm.
But it was silly because I tried to push and again I was making mistakes. So yeah, it was like, come on, I could do more consistent laps and being faster, but in the end, it's older. So I was thinking like the only I could do is stick on the back, which I was from time to time, but I should be more there. And just wishing for a mistake. But Aidan was, even though he was doing mistakes, he was driving pretty consistent. So it's not there was not gonna be a hole I could launch my car there. So yeah, well done for him. Of course, well done for Luke for the P1. But I'm happy that I've been there in the base at least.
Oh, good. No, it's glad that we could finally have a chat, buddy. I mean, you've been a mainstay in AOR Tier 1 for a little while. I swear that we've spoken about you on stream. Obviously, we've never had the chance to have a chat. So, yeah, welcome into the top spots. And hopefully, we'll see you up here again. The BMW seems very good this season, so I won't be surprised. We've got some funny old tracks coming up. I think it's Kyalami.
I must have to say that now that the BOP is only based on qualifying base, the cars that are strong on races are gonna come up pretty up, because the balance is only counting on the fastest lap of the qualifying on the
Really?
server. So
I didn't think that was the case.
I was thinking all the time that the time the leagues, you and LFM or whatever, are using the BOP, I was thinking like, now the cars that are better on the race are gonna be stronger, mostly because no matter how much balance you put on qualifying pace, if I could do better pace on race, those cars are gonna outstand from others.
Well, I'll double check that, because that's a very interesting. I thought the BOP would be throughout the whole race as opposed to just on the fastest lap. Hey, it might be, but yes, interesting. I didn't know, but hey ho, thank you very much for joining us today, Alex. I appreciate it, and hopefully it isn't the last time you get to come in and have a chat. Well done for your third place.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem at all. Speak soon. Have a good evening, and well done again.
Good evening.
No problem at all. Well, there you go. There was Alex Torregrossa, we've never had a chat with before. I didn't realise. I completely missed that. I could have sworn we've had Alex in here. Well, he said, actually, no, he has come in once or twice. And I think he might have come in during the endurance bits and pieces. That's why I'm thinking, we've definitely spoken to Alex at some point. Well, there you go. A little bit of a less eventful race, that one. But still had its pluses and minuses, and it still had a Luke Whitehead win.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those races where there were some things that were, I don't want to say expected, but slightly more predictable, we'll say. And then there were plenty of things going on that were just totally out of the ordinary and unexpected, as we saw with Torregrossa there, absolutely flying along. I just realised that Aidan's actually joined in. He's finally come in. He was our second place driver.
Oh, well, there you go.
He's
Take it
just
away.
jumped in there as well.
I'll drag him up and you take it away, buddy.
Aidan, finally joining us. We thought we were going to miss out on a conversation with you. Just about hanging on to second place over Torregrossa. Talk us through the qualifying first, because we did hear from Whitehead that he thought it was kind of a case of a bit of good luck on that final lap. But both of you, on your final laps, improved by 0.3. Talk us through that lap of the gods that you put together.
It was my personal best. I mean, admittedly, I didn't do a lot of practice, but it finally came together. I finally did a good lap with a good Sector 1 and a good Sector 2 and a good Sector 3, because every lap until now, you have a chicane which can kill your lap, or gravel on exit which can kill your lap, or a random bounce which can kill your lap. And they're all spread across all three sectors very nicely. So it all just magically came together, finally. And Luke did a very, very impressive lap. Still 0.2 faster than mine. So fair play to him. Well deserved, Paul.
Yeah, he is a little bit of a sort of, I don't want to say an enigma, but he is Well, yeah, he is really, isn't he? It's become ridiculous at that moment. Towards the end of the main race itself, it looked like you were starting to get reeled in a little bit by Torregrossa. Was that a case of your pace? You were feeling like you were off, or was it just the sheer pace of Torregrossa behind you that was closing that gap up?
I had 3 warnings, man.
Yeah.
I had 3 warnings since half an hour into the race. I just had some weird chicanes earlier in the race where I just rotated too much for one reason or another, and picked up some really daft warnings, which meant I just had to play so safe. I had a chicane after getting my 3rd warning where I just lifted the throttle and gave up like 2.5 seconds of that gap, which then let Torregrossa just sit in my draft, which was excessive, but I didn't want to get the drive through. Because that would have been sad.
Actually, a drive-through would have been a pack it up and go home. It is better to obviously come across the line in a very close second place than it was to not make it to the line at all. I think that was definitely a smart decision, especially when it comes to championship sort of points. You've had some really great finishes. I'm just trying to see whereabouts you are in the standings. Currently 4th in the standings before this race. It's going to see you, I imagine, flying up again. You beat your 2 closest rivals, Ciata and Honzik, so I think that's going to see you improving. It's only that DNF at Mazzano that really hurt you, really, isn't it? That was Mazzano, I think, wasn't it? Yeah, it was the Mazzano race. That's the only one that's really sort of hurt your championship points. Without that DNF, you would be right there battling it out for second place with Yards. So, bit unfortunate on that one. But overall, as championships go, it looks like it's going pretty well for you.
Yeah, it's not been too bad. We've had some good finishes with Luke so far. We've worked together a bit, being teammates, driving the same car. Helps me out a lot in the championship. Also get to learn a bit from driving with him. Like previous seasons, I've not been this close to the front. I've had like the odd race where maybe the BOP's in my favor and I'm able to fight at the front. But no, this season's been a lot better. I've really enjoyed the BOP this season. Really happy to see that AOR's introduced that. It's meant that we're able to, it's more judged by the driver rather than did you pick a car that's good for the calendar or not? So,
yeah, I think the BOP's definitely made a nice difference. We're sort of seeing some cars that have sort of battled their way to the front that you normally wouldn't see quite so good. It's not so obvious in Tier 1. In Tier 2, I mean, we've seen GTRs, we've got Bentleys, we've got everything in there, which is slightly random to see. I haven't seen any V12 Astons yet, but I know we did bother to put it in there for people to use if they wanted to. But no, I'm glad you're enjoying the new BOP. It's definitely been a nice change for this season 14. I think obviously it's something that I hope we're going to keep going forward and doing in the future as well. And you're not the only driver to say that they've really enjoyed it. So I'm glad that change has helped. But I think that is going to be a night for us now. Any final words before me and Rage wrap all this big old stream up?
I just want to say thanks, and thanks to Org as always for putting the races together. It's a great way to enjoy a Monday night.
Very
Fantastic.
chilled
Thank you very much,
isn't
Aidan.
it? Fantastic.
Maybe not Zolder.
Yes.
Don't put Zolder next season.
It's never the funnest of races. It's always a bit, oh God, Zolder. Never mind, we've got 90 minutes of Kyle Army for you next time. So there you go. You get your teeth into that. At least you can overtake a little bit easier. At least there's some bits and pieces. You've got Cheetah to contend with, though. That's the only problem.
Nah, I could deal with Cheetah as long as I can overtake.
That's confidence. That's confidence. That is confidence. I mean, it was dry today. Come on, it might have been Zolder, but at least it was a dry Zolder. I mean, they were nice in that respect.
I might have preferred it in the wet, like we don't have to yeet the chicanes so much.
Get out, you. Right, that's it. Getting rid of Aiden. Get out of here. Go on, go and enjoy your champagne for coming in second place. Thank you very much, Aiden. Right, we're gonna get rid of that before he makes the rest of us look even worse than we already are. Oh, Rage! Good old race in the end. It was it had a lot to contend with after last week at Silverstone. So I think it's been a nice change of the weather.
Definitely, yeah. Nice to see no rain for once, and no rain next week either. So yeah, good stuff. I doubt there'll be rain in Monza either. Hopefully we'll have a clean rest of the season. But like we've said the whole way through, it's going to be mighty hard for everyone to keep up with Luke Whitehead. He has said that it's not his favourite tracks coming up, so you never know. Could swap round. It would be really good to see Aiden get a win this season. I'd really like that. His teammate has been struggling in his slipstream all season. It'd be great to see if they can swap those drivers around. But hey ho, we hope for another good race next time. Hey, if you want to join us again for more racing, you can do tomorrow. Same time, same place. That will be for the Tier 2 boys. You can join Tim for that. I haven't actually looked at the standings for that. Is it still pretty good, or have we got the outliner running away still? What's going on? Yes,
still got a bit of a runaway.
Yeah, Fabio doing
but
the
very,
business.
very, very similar to Tier 1 in that respect,
Yes.
isn't it? I mean, it does happen from time to time, but generally,
Fight for second's
the rest
good.
of it, the rest of it's still definitely on the cards,
And
isn't
the
it? There's
fight
not
for
really
third.
much of a gap.
Yeah.
Yeah, not of a gap between many people. So yeah, 113 gap from first to second, but then it's 12 and 2 for the battle for second place. So it's plenty still going on all up and down, and it's been a real mix of people's finishes. So yeah, it's been good. It's been good.
Well,
I
there
think
you go.
Zerbin actually, he's had 2 seconds and 2 firsts. If he can get himself on the podium again tomorrow, that's pretty much equaling the sort of same kind of level that Luke Whitehead's been doing. Obviously in a slightly lower tier, but could be one to maybe challenge the king of Tier 1 next year. Who knows?
You never know. If his pace is that good, maybe he should be put up into Tier 1, and it could be. Well, have a look at his times, mate. You know what we were running around this time. It was low 27, so we'll see what his race pace is like. You never know. Might be in Tier 2 for the next time. But hey, if you want to join us again, you know where we are. We'll be live again on Monday at 7:30. Hopefully with the stream advertised a little sooner next time. You should get your stream to be able to put a reminder on for ready for the race in Kyalami. 90 minutes, so get many snacks and many drinks ready, and settle in on your sofa and listen to 90 minutes of madness with these top tier boys. You can join us Monday at 7 for that. We'll run away now, and you can enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a good one, and we'll see you soon.
Good night.